So the audio quality tonight should be a lot better because I have a mic with noise cancellation, so you shouldn't hear the music. You should actually be able to hear me. But I worked on the app all day today, which is really bad because I'm on vacation, but I had a good time. Laid on the beach again, and I got absolutely fried, which is kind of funny because I was not in the sun. I was in the shade, but we think that the UV or something reflected off of the white sand, and I got absolutely toasted. But onwards from that, I ran into a severe issue that I'll talk about because I would be curious to know if anybody has any ideas with it. It's kind of nuanced because you have absolutely no context for it, but basically the app that I'm working on right now is a smart grocery list. So you can add grocery items to it and you can select basically your top three stores that you like to go to or that you want to get groceries from or the ones that are closest to you or whatever. When you add items to your grocery list, it will look up those items at those three grocery stores, figure out which place it's the very cheapest at, and then we'll tag that item for you. So basically, the whole idea is you get your groceries for the cheapest. So on average, after a little bit of testing, it saves around 20%, sometimes closer to 25. But if you split your groceries instead of always going to one store, if you divide between three stores and get the cheapest item at each of those stores, it saves you about 20-25%. So for somebody who's spending $500 a month on groceries, it saves you $100 and you only end up spending $400. And so this is big because like $100 a month in savings is $1,200 a year. So if I basically just said, hey, this app's going to save you $100 a month, like that's a lot of money. But the problem with that is the natural language processing. So the way that the list works is you just type it in like it's Apple Notes because I want it to be simple. And you simply type in what you want. So if I need to do a story of milk, I type milk. And then it will send that off to Perplexity Sonar with an API request to OpenRouter, which basically OpenRouter just has all of the different AI models on one platform so that you can just put credits on there and you can request any AI from any API. You do OCR, so you can send images off to get written down as text, etc. And so that's how one of the functionalities works, is you can scan receipts, and by scanning those receipts, it uploads the prices of those items to my database so that in the future it doesn't have to go query or search the internet because it's expensive. It just reuses the price that was scanned on the thing. So it's crowdsourced. Problem is the natural language processing. So if I typed in chocolate and you typed in chocolate, we would both mean two completely different things, but because there's no specificity, the AI would return the same price. So if I say chocolate, and my selected grocery stores are Trader Joe's, Publix, and Sam's Club, which is accurate. Those are the three that I usually go to back in college. It will search the internet. How much is chocolate at Sam's Club? How much is chocolate at Publix? How much is chocolate at Trader Joe's? And it will return its estimate with an accuracy scoring. So lower scoring, anything below 50 or 60% accuracy, I just drop completely because it's probably made it up. But typically you want 80 to 100% accuracy, meaning that it found the actual price online. If it's below 60, it usually means that it's guessing and it didn't actually find the price, so it drops those. The problem arises, what I mean, is the accuracy because of the natural language processing. I don't know if this makes any sense, but it's a little bit contextual, but some people may have really good ideas. So basically, I want to make it so that there's as little friction as possible. If I want to go to the grocery store and I need chocolate, I can't just write chocolate because it might mean chocolate syrup, it could mean chocolate chips, it could mean a chocolate bar. And then once you get that out of the way, if I put chocolate bar, well, then you have to worry about the size. So chocolate bar, well, you can have a tiny chocolate bar that's big, or you can have a chocolate bar that's massive. You can have a family size chocolate bar. And so I found that there's three metrics that determine how accurate the AI is, and it's the brand, the size, and the quantity. And so instead of saying chocolate, you could say Hershey's, which is the brand, family size, which would be the size, and the quantity is like one. So one Hershey's family size candy bar. That would be a very accurate search instead of saying chocolate. But the problem is when I write a grocery list, I don't know about you guys, but I just write the item. So like if I'm gonna go shopping, I write milk because I know what I mean. I know what I mean, but the AI doesn't know what you mean, and so it's causing people to have to write down more than is necessary in order to get the result that they want, which adds friction, which is kind of the whole point of software is to reduce friction. So basically, that's the problem that I'm running into, and I'm not sure how to make it so that, like, how to fix that problem. Because if I type in chocolate and I know I want a bar of chocolate, so okay, prompt the user to be more specific. Cool. I want a bar of chocolate. Well, how big is this bar of chocolate? Okay, well, I want a, I don't know, 14-ounce bar of chocolate. Okay, well, how many do you want? So it's so specific in order to get the result that I need that it's almost not doable. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to not ask too much of the user, but also maintain accuracy of the pricing. So the two solutions that I had to this basically was one of which is there's a bunch of databases full of products. And so if somebody types chocolate, they'll basically be prompted to select an item. So chocolate, it'll search the entire database for the stores that they want to go to and find all of the chocolate available, which, by the way, is hundreds of items because there are so many different types of chocolate. And so it'll have them select one of those, and then it will search the price of that one that they selected. This is a good idea, and it eliminates the ambiguity problem, but it completely flips the problem on its head because now, sure, now you're too specific. So now that you know exactly what chocolate you're getting, well, you're kind of losing the whole idea of finding the cheapest price because you don't know the prices of these chocolates. You have to search them, and I don't have the capability of searching the price of all 100 different types of chocolate from these stores. And so you select this chocolate, but the chance that you happen to have selected one of the most expensive chocolates out of those 100 is probably pretty high. And so then it searches that chocolate, returns the cheapest of the three stores, but completely missed out on the fact that if you chose this chocolate up here, it was actually 3 times cheaper for the same amount. You just happened to choose a different brand that looked better. So it fixes the ambiguity problem, but creates a problem with the pricing, which is the entire purpose of the app. And so it's kind of just like the only way I can see of fixing it is either prompting the user to be more specific about what they want. So instead of writing beer or chocolate, beer, they would do a 12 ounce or a 12 count pack of 12-ounce Bud Light. Or for chocolate, they instead of chocolate, they would do Hershey's family size candy bar. That would be more accurate. So it's about the user being specific that would get better results. And I just don't think people will do that. Maybe I'm wrong. They might do that. But then again, if I'm really trying to make money off of this, there's 350 million people in America. That's the market that I'm serving. Probably about 100 million of them go grocery shopping each week. If I get 1% of that market, that's 1 million people. Like, I don't need that many people. If I get 1/10,000th of the market, so 1 in 10,000 people, and I charge $10 a month for this, which seems steep, but if I'm saving people on average $100 a month, then the rationale is you get a week free. Okay, in that week you just saved $25. Okay, pay me 10 for the month. Oh, well, they're basically paying me the money that I already saved them for free. So it's like people will do it. So it's like if I get 1 in 10,000 shoppers to use the app at $10 a month, that's $100,000 a month. That's $1 million a year app idea right there. So if 1 in 10,000 people use it, that's all I need. So it's kind of like me trying to battle with a perfect product that works for everybody and making a good product that doesn't work for everybody but works enough to make the money. But I don't know. But yeah, that's the problem that I'm trying to figure out basically is just how do I train users to be more specific to get more accurate pricing data? Because if they just write chocolate, it's not going to be accurate at all. because if the user's thinking, oh, well, I want this specific chocolate that I'm thinking of, but they just write down chocolate because they know what they're talking about, but the AI has no context. So it'll find up a random BS price. And then the other problem is standardized units. So you can look up chocolate for Publix, chocolate for Trader Joe's, and chocolate for Sam's Club. And at Sam's Club, it might be 46 cents. At Publix, it's $3. And at, I don't know what the other place was, Publix, it's $5. So it's like, well, how's it 46 cents, $4, and $5? Well, it's because the units are different. So at the two that's $4 and $5, that's for the whole bar. It's per unit. Versus the other one, it's 46 cents per pound. Does that make sense? So some stores, near me at least, will sell bananas by weight. Others sell bananas each. So how do you distinguish those two? It takes a lot of logic that I don't know how to do. And so when it looks up, oh, what's the cheapest place for bananas? And you get 29 cents, 50 cents, 80 cents. Well, that's a big variation. But the reality is 29 cents is 29 cents per banana. The 80 cents is it's 80 cents per pound. Those are two completely different units, but it's going to prioritize the 20 something cents because it's technically cheaper, but the reality is it's not cheaper. It looks cheaper because it's in a completely different unit. It's like saying, oh, it's 2 kilometers away versus it's 1.8 miles. Well, 1.8 miles is a smaller number, but it's a longer distance. You know what I mean? And so the units are going to be screwed, which I figure out, but that's what we're thinking about right now. But I've been told by multiple people that I need to take a break and take a breather to think on it. But yeah, hard roadblock basically is taking natural language and making it specific enough to get accurate results, but without adding too much friction so that the user just doesn't have to type 12 pack, 12 ounce cans of Bud Light from Walmart, because nobody's going to do that otherwise. So that's what I figure out. But I'm sure there's other problems I run into, but if I can get the product to market, I thought it was interesting. We found a similar app that basically it's crowdsourced data, so people upload the prices from stores. It sold, well, they raised $10 million in capital in 2018 to do this. And they sold to a private company in 2022 for an undisclosed amount, which if they were sold and they raised 10 million, they probably sold for more than 10 million. So call it 20. They sold for millions of dollars. And there's no other competition on the market right now. And so if I can make it work, there's definitely market potential because that's been proven by this other company that made a similar app and sold it. They sold it for the data. So it wasn't because the app was necessarily producing revenue. It was actually a free app. But it was because they had collected so much grocery data that a company bought them to use it for analysis and for just selling data, or to use the data for their services. But yeah, if you have any ideas, feel free to share. But it's definitely a big roadblock. I need to take a break tomorrow and clear my mind before I get back to things. But I'm the only person that I know that will be on vacation in a foreign country on a beautiful beach and will be spending 10 hours coding. So yeah, but I'm exhausted, so I'm going to get to bed, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.